query. So example of reading data from your blockchain is when you are checking balance or when you are reading smart contract state variable, right? I think we talked about state variable. Did you talk about state variable? Okay, let me even ask a question. When they say a variable, when they say state variables, what do they mean? I know we all know variables, obviously, due to programming, you know what variables are. But when they say state variables, what do they mean? Okay, they'll go on.
Okay, I want to give it a try, but I don't know
Okay.
what variable is in programming. So I feel it is a change in the maybe the transaction state, maybe sending or receiving
Okay. Okay.
at a particular time, I guess.
Okay. Okay. So any other person? That's a good one.
Can you hear me, sir? James, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
I can see that the state variable is a kind of a variable or
Mm,
an in-memory container that holds a particular, let's say, function or number
mm,
at the current time. Maybe that state variable can change in some period of time, but we mention that state means that it holds the current value that the user is currently interacting.
mm. Awesome. Awesome. So nice. So now, when they say state variables, right? They are variables, just like you said, that holds value in memory. So the variables, they can actually remember what they are unless you decide to change them. I believe you guys must have heard of stateless variables. So like okay, you people be doing Stacknet. Like if you look at Stacknet, right? If not for Stacknet, ordinarily Cairo is a stateless language. So but Stacknet now came and revolutionized Cairo. They now made it stateful. You understand? So you can read reading smart contract state variables and also okay, wow, that's also viewing transaction history. Okay, let's say for instance, you made a transaction is synonymous to your OP. I know many of us here are making use of OP. So it's synonymous to like your OP where you bought something or you transfer something for somebody. You find out that anytime maybe you want to check, you want to confirm, did I really transfer this thing to this person or was the transfer successful? You can just go to the history, transaction history, and before you know, you will now find all the whole information concerning whatsoever transaction you have done. So all these ones are just part of reading. So for reading data from the blockchain, generally you don't really require signing. You know, anytime you are signing, you have to sign with your private key. So for querying the database, you don't really need to sign using your private key. You understand? There are some instances where if you are reading from to read, right, you need what they call maybe authentication, depending on the kind of RPC you are making use of. That's remote procedural call. So depending on the kind of RPC you are using, it might need authentication. It might not need, depending on the platform whose RPC you are making use of for that interaction. Then there's the second part of the interaction, which have to do with writing data, right? So that's the one that has to do with transaction itself. So when you are performing a transaction, you are actually changing state, right? You are changing your contract state because when you perform a transaction, let's say you are buying something or you are transferring money or coin or token from your account to another person's account, you find out that there will be a change in your balance, in your token balance. So let's say probably your token balance formerly was, for instance, let's say 100 Ethereum, and then you now transfer like 10 Ethereum to, let's say, Ido, right? So it means that you no longer have up to 100 ethers because you have transferred 10. So your balance will now be reading 90 ethers. So what has happened? You have actually changed the state of your contract. So at such, if you are writing data to the blockchain, it actually requires signing. And that's when you have to use your private key to sign. Why? You have to prove that you actually have permission. You are the owner of that particular token or that money or that asset, that digital asset that you are trying to transfer. And at such, of course, if you are writing to the blockchain, it requires something they call a gas fee. Yeah, I think we've talked about gas fee. I think first, second week. Yeah, I can't remember. So it also requires gas fee. So gas fee that would depend on the chain you are making use of, whether it's a layer one or a layer two. I think we've talked about all of those things in our first and second week. So is there any question concerning this reading data from the blockchain and also writing data to the blockchain? So is there any question? Hmm. Okay. Michael Adiosun. Okay, so Adiosun, go on.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. So, my question is, why
Hmm.
reading data? It's free, like, um, it's not like no gas fee is charged, right?
Okay,
Or we don't, or
are
is
you
there
talking
any
about
fee?
reading data?
Yes, reading data.
Yes. Okay,
Okay.
for reading data, right? No gas fee is actually needed. Why? Because you are not making changes to the blockchain. Is what is there, is what is on the blockchain already. You are trying to get information on. It's just like your bank app, right? If right now
Mm,
I want to check my transaction history, OPay cannot charge me for checking my transaction history. Access cannot charge me. GT cannot charge me for checking my transaction history. I'm not performing a transaction. I just want to check what I've done before. You understand?
yes.
They will only charge me when I decide to say, okay, oh, I want to send Adiosun some amount of money. That's when, depending on the amount of money, they will now have to charge me. For instance, if I'm sending you up to 10,000 naira, you know that most banks charge up to 50 naira for sending about 10,000 naira. So at
Yes.
such, they will charge me for it. That's why I'm performing a transaction. I'm actually, and that transaction I'm performing, it's something they have to take into record. It's something they have to record. And so they have to charge me for it. It's something they have to process. So that money they are charging me is more like they are trying to say, for we to process this transaction for you, we have to charge you. But if I'm checking my balance, they are not processing anything. It's something that is already on their record. What I'm simply doing is just to check. You understand? It's just like you're in a school. For you to write exam, you have to settle your school fees 100%. All right. If you don't pay your school fees 100%, hey, you can't write the exam. But after exam, to check your result is free now. In fact, they'll even help you to paste the results. I think each department have a way they paste their results. So they'll even help you to paste it so that you go and see your results. So that's just how the whole thing works in the blockchain. So are you okay?
Yes, boss. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
So Ido, oh, you have another question? Okay. So Ido, you wanted to ask a question? Mm?
Yes, my question is just like you said, I just want to clarify. You said
Okay.
when checking balances on our bank application, we don't
Yes.
require some particular kind of payments. Let's say
Yeah.
bank charges now for the payment, right? So
Yes.
that's like reading information, which is
Mm.
not a change of state, right?
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm. At all.
making a transaction is a change of state, which
Yeah.
includes or which involves paying a particular fee, which is the bank charge or the um, gas fee, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which is also the change of state.
Yes.
I just want to clarify. Okay, okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome. So, how what will I even use as an example? So just know that anything you are doing that require changes in the blockchain in terms of record, just know that you have to pay for it. But anything you are doing that does not require any single change on the blockchain, you don't pay for it. So even if you deploy a smart contract, you are making changes to the blockchain because why? You are adding something to the blockchain. If you are making transaction, you are making changes to the blockchain. Why? Because the balance you have before is about to change, and the balance of another person also is about to change due to the transaction both of you are having. So at such, the state is changing, so they must charge you for it. So do you understand? So that's just how it works. So let's go on. Okay, go on.
So I want to ask a question. Aside reading data and entering data, is there
Yeah.
any other kind of any other kind of operation that involves change of state but doesn't require um gas fees or charges?
Well, I don't know. They might be, but based on my knowledge, anything that have to do with change of state in the blockchain, you have to pay for it. But it's just that some blockchain, they have minimized that gas fee, so it's very, very, very low. uh It's very, very low. Why some, okay, for instance, like Bybit, if you are transferring anything through Aptos blockchain on Bybit, is free, because the gas fee is very, very insignificant. So it's actually free. uh But apart from that, any other one, like you have to pay for it, something like that. So adios, go on before tally.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, let's say, for example,
Yeah,
a voting app was created on blockchain now.
yeah,
So, does it mean every voting
yes,
we attract a fee?
yes, you'll be charged.
Well.
Yeah,
Okay, like you were talking about Aptos for Bybit.
yeah,
Because I noticed when you want to do like a transfer also using
yes,
Binance,
yes,
especially use BNB, whatever, I don't, BNB chain or something, I don't know. If you are
yes,
transferring, they don't deduct. It's just like you transferring from one Binance account to another
another.
Binance account.
Mm,
It also, Bybit also, I think they does that also. But whenever
yes,
you are transferring from Binance to
yes,
Bybit,
yes.
no how you want to do, you have to pay a particular fee.
Aha, aha. So that's it. Thank God that you're observing too. So So it means that for Binance to Binance, probably that's how they designed their own blockchain to be. That if you are transferring from one Binance to another, there won't be any gas fee. So all these things is by design. So technology, okay, I think Tali raised up his hand before technology for, is it technology? Okay, technology junkie. Okay, go on, technology junkie.
Yeah, I just wanted to further explain what you mean to them, but it's like they all got it, so no problem.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you. Technology junkie.
Mr. Please,
Okay, go on.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Um, what I'm asking is the is it does a specific blockchain or is it blockchain exchanger charge the same amount when making transactions with when deploying smart contract? Is it the same amount or the amount varies or is it depend on the load? I don't really understand. Maybe you should clarify for me.
Okay. So all of these things, right? You guys will still look at it practically. But gas fee is number one, dependent on the blockchain, majorly. You understand? Then centralized exchange, that's if you are using centralized exchange, they can decide on their own that okay, oh, this and this is what we'll be charging, or we will not even charge at all. So that one is based on their own decision. But ordinarily, the blockchain itself, if you are writing anything to it, it has a particular fee that you have to pay. So it still depends on both of them. Do you get it?
Yeah, I understand. And sorry,
Uh,
one more question.
okay.
So you mean now, for instance, if we are at the end of the day, if we're writing smart contracts, for
Yeah.
us to test the smart contract, we have to pay gas fee.
Good.
Like for instance, if you are as we are learning now, so
Yeah.
for us to
Yes. For you to deploy, to take your contract from your computer, take the bytecode to the blockchain, you have to pay for it. But of course, that's where you have test nets and the rest, where you don't have to pay real money. So Tech Explorer, can you go on?
Please continue, continue.
Okay. So they have answered your question, no problem. Okay, so we talked about understanding interaction. So I've explained reading data from the blockchain and also writing data to the blockchain. All right. So now choosing your network. So if you want to interact with the blockchain, right, you have to choose, there's what they call network in your blockchain. So there is the main net, there is local environment, and there's test net. Now for something like Bitcoin, you have reg test, REGTEST, you have test net, you have main net. Then there's another one called I've even forgotten. There are about 4 of them. All right, but I've forgotten the 4th one. If I remember, I'll let you know. So for Ethereum, there's local development network. That's the hard hat network itself. That's the one you just test everything on your computer. There's testnet. That's the one that have to do with Sepolia ETH, where you need Sepolia ETH. And then there's the main net. All right. So now the local development is just the one that runs on your computer system. So it's actually a simulated, what they did is that they simulated the test on mainnet. And then they just package everything. Like this hard hat network now, they packaged everything inside hard hat in such a way you can actually deploy and even test. You can compile, deploy, and test locally. So I think other chains too have local development. Like I think Aptos have their local DevNet. I think their local development, they call it, okay, no, their DevNet is still online. They have DevNet, they have TestNet, and they have mainnet. So this local development network, you can refer to it as DevNet. It's just carrying this dev and then carrying this net together. So you have DevNet. Then your testnet too is online, like your main net, but it's just that it's majorly used for testing. You don't spend real money there. What you spend there as gas fee is what is known as Sepolia. So, and there are different platforms that can give you Sepolia. I think we even used one in our last class, in our Thursday class, which was the one that's Google Faucet. I don't know if you guys still remember. Google Faucet, where they give you some amount of Ethereum where you can use it to test. So then finally you now have your mainnet. So your mainnet is for production. All right. That is after you must have tested it on your test net, run your contract, test the variables, test the functions, and you are satisfied that it's giving you what you want. Like that's exactly what you want. You can now go ahead and now deploy it to the mainnet, because mainnet now makes use of real money. Any gas fee they charge you there is actually real. It's not like testnet. Testnet, they just need Sepolia ETH and all of that. So any question? Okay. Adios, go on.
So, is it safe to say that the local development network is similar to like we doing development on locals, why testnet is like maybe hosting it on one of these free districts, then maybe mainnet, then that is the when you go like to production, something like
Yes.
that.
Yes, exactly. So technology, go on. Technology junkie.
Yeah. When you write, when you write the smart contract
Yeah.
and you deploy,
Yes.
so anybody using it, like I don't know how it even works. Anybody using it, right? That they
Yeah.
will have to pay. Let's say, for instance, okay, you develop a smart contract for election voting
Yes.
right? Then
Yes.
the payment they receive, that each person that is voting definitely
Yeah.
pay, right?
Yes.
Not the one to pay for them; they will be the one to pay for themselves, right? That's the
Yes.
interacting with the voting system.
Now, that's why it's called a
I
smart
really, I
contract.
really need to understand it very, very well.
No problem. You
Okay.
understand? That's why they call it smart contract. Now, if you decide that you are generous enough to pay for everybody, you can ask them to design the smart contract in such a way that the bulk of the gas fee will be charged from a central account, probably your account, any other account you want the gas fee to be charged from, on behalf of anybody that is voting. And you can still decide to talk. Now, when I want good government, Mona use una money, vote government wey una want. And then they come, they vote, and then that vote, the gas fee is being charged from each person's account. Because now, ordinarily, in normal account, right, for you to create an account and all of that, you need either an email or your phone number. Now, if you are dealing with the blockchain, what you need to create an account is just your wallet. That's just what you need. So once you create an account, your wallet will be connected to that particular platform, either a website or an application. So any transaction you want to perform, like if you want to vote now, it's actually a transaction you are performing. You are adding to the blockchain. You are writing to the blockchain. So what will happen is that they are going to trigger a notification, right? Not really notification, but they will trigger, like, okay, if you want to vote, it will trigger a message that you should sign that you want to vote. Since you are writing to the blockchain, you have to sign. So that's when by the time it pop up, you can now go ahead and press agree or approve, depending on the wallet and the message for approve or reject. So if you don't want to go on, you can reject. But if you want to go on, you have to proceed. So that proceed now, it will now sign that, okay, truly, truly, this person that connected this account is really the owner of this account, and he wants to vote or write to the blockchain by this particular voting he wants to vote, things like that. So does that answer your question? But if you are generous enough, of course, you can tell the developers developing the contract that, yeah, all bees on me, and then they'll know how to route the whole thing. So
Yeah, it answers my question. Thank you. The
okay,
explanation actually answers my question. But so
okay,
one other thing I want to know is, like, that means in a situation whereby maybe Nigeria decides to use this form of voting system, right?
yeah,
It means you can easily meet a politician and ask him that I'll develop a smart contract for you, but
yeah,
the be on everybody that's going to vote for you will be on your head, right? Something like that.
yes, yes,
So that he will want to pay for the people voting for him.
yes,
Okay, okay, okay.
yes.
I understand it.
All right. So please go on. Tali, I can see your hand, and also
Okay.
Johnson.
Just wanted to announce them that I've dropped the attendance link on comment section.
Okay. So please, the attendance list on the comment section. Sorry. So please do well to fill it. Okay, Johnson, go on.
Okay, sir. So my question is that now when you are talking about deploying a smart contract or testing a smart contract, because I could realize that when you are talking about a smart contract, is the person that, or is the wallet that deployed the smart contract that have access to it. So my question is that when you are working on, let's say, our VS Code, creating our smart contract
Yeah.
locally, so how do we work with wallet when we are developing smart contract using VS Code?
Okay. These guys, you will not kill somebody with question. Okay. Now, we've talked about public and private keys before, where we say any form of transaction you want to do, right? That has to do with writing to the blockchain. You have to sign with your, what are they calling it? With your private key. Good. So what you need to carry out any transaction is, number one, your private key. Then number two, I think at the beginning of this class, I mentioned something. I mentioned, who can remind me what I mentioned? I mentioned RPC. right? And the full meaning of RPC is remote procedural call. Let me write it on the chat, right? So remote procedural call. So mostly what this RPC is going to do is that is your gateway to the blockchain. It's what connects you to the blockchain. So based on the RPC you are using and the design of the RPC, they can do it in such a way from even your terminal, you can actually trigger a transaction and send it. And then it's going to like, in fact, most blockchain self, that's how it works. Everything you do is on the terminal. Even the deploying of your smart contract is on the terminal. But just that there's a settings or there will be a configuration file where you are going to indicate the remote procedure call you are making use of. That's your access to the blockchain, one. And then secondly, you input your private key because that is the only thing that you can actually use to write and all of that. So the signing and every other thing will be handled by that remote procedural call. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to explain.
Okay, so that means it's just like API when we are building like front end, calling an endpoint. So we need to add our key using an API with a function call. That's how the RPC works also.
Beautiful. You get it. Exactly. So hope you understand now. All right. So Tech Explorer, go on. Ah, what happened to Tech Explorer? It's all right. So any
So
other
yeah,
question? Okay.
something I didn't even use my mind. Actually, I
Okay.
don't know the question whether it will be open, but let me just ask.
Okay.
You know, we are saying in decentralization when like in blockchain,
Yeah.
let me say that it's applied in the agriculture, anything. It
Hmm.
monitors everything from the beginning till where it's land, that kind of thing.
Yes.
I understand what I'm. So the
Yes.
thing I'm asking is that let me say that it's monitoring a marketing product, like how it's being produced from the beginning to how it's being supplied.
Yes.
So are you trying to tell me that we don't have competition that has like there's no competition in decentralization whereby you know how a company differs from other companies that they hide a specific something or you need something that the other companies don't know that makes them different that whereby if people are choosing their product they will have likes over this one than this one because of one little thing or the other. So when they start exposing it in terms of decentralization for everybody to see, there will be nothing like competition. So I'm asking, is there any room for that kind of thing?
Okay. Okay. I understand. Tech Explorer, are you an Igbo person or related to an Igbo person?
Yeah, Maniba, Maniba.
Eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Don't mind me. I just asked that question. Okay. Actually, what is being stored on the blockchain is not really your strategy. What is stored on your blockchain is the logic behind your transaction. You understand? That is what is stored on the blockchain. Your strategy will still remain with you. So, in terms of competition, you are the only person that knows what is making your product unique. It's possible that the way you structure your project and all of that, the kind of technologies you use in building it is very, very fast. Because most Web3 projects, they still end up using Web2 things because one way or the other, they still need to like store some of their users' information so that at least anytime their users come back, they can actually continue from where they are and or still have their other records intact. So the strategy you are using is still safe with you. The only thing that people can go and check is your contract, your smart contract itself, how you're able to design it and all of that. So that's the only thing people have access to. And the smart contract, funny enough, it's not as if, I told you that you cannot take your code, the code you code on your computer system, you cannot take that same code and deploy it on the blockchain because the blockchain will not accept it. So you have to first compile it into a bytecode. Is that bytecode that you will now deploy. And I think I showed you guys example of a bytecode the last class. It's not even something you can understand, right? It's not something you can understand. Unless maybe there's an AI now that converts bytecode to code, which of course I'm not aware of. I don't know. Probably. I know somebody like Obed must have heard of an AI like that. So, but except there's something like that, else somebody cannot just go to your bytecode and then wait till this how they do, wait till this how they do. So that's it. So your code is still safe unless you decide to open source your code, because there are some projects in blockchain that is open sourced. You can go there, see what they did, the whole project. You can even fork it, make changes, deploy it, and like revive the whole thing, do add some things and then change the name and then deploy it as your own if you want to. But there are other projects that are closed source. You can't find the code anywhere. You can only find the product. So do you understand now, Tech Explorer? So your secret is safe with you actually.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So technology junkie, please go on.
Sorry, you can just call me ATG. I'm a member of ATG, Iowa Tech Junkies, Tech
Okay.
Bridge, Tech Bridge. Sorry. So,
Okay.
sorry, what I want to ask is, I've not reached the stage of this smart contract because if you notice, I've not been attending classes maybe once in a while, like this is my third class actually, to be frank. The reason is because I have things doing, so I go back and download the YouTube, the video from YouTube and follow. Mostly
Okay.
that's, but I'm not up to the stage of the smart contract yet. That's why I'm
Okay.
still asking questions about the smart contract thing. And this the bytecode you're talking about, right, is the normal zeros and ones that we know, right? Or I don't know how is it?
Okay, actually, bytecode are a little higher than zeros and one. Machine code is actually different from bytecode. All right. So machine code is the one that you have zeros and one. Why bytecode? You can still have maybe A, you can have B, you can have 3, you can have 2, and all of that. So it's actually different from the machine code. Do you
Okay,
get?
okay. I
And
get.
that's why most smart contracts you can't execute it on your computer directly because your computer processor cannot understand it. What your computer processor can understand is ones and zeros. All right. So that's why for all those programming language that don't compile to machine code, they always have something, a platform to run it. Like Java now, it's being run by the Java compiler, and the Java compiler makes use of Java Virtual Machine, JVM. You understand? Ethereum is being run by the Ethereum virtual machine. So when you compile, it gives you bytecode. You send the bytecode to the Ethereum. It will use Ethereum virtual machine. So thank you, Obed. You see, Obed mentioned that even JavaScript. So it's only programming, yeah, even Python. It's only programming languages like Rust, like C++ that compile to your machine code. That's why once you compile it, you can just run it directly on your machine. It's going to give you what you want. So do you understand now?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right. You're welcome. So you can still go and make some research on it. That's why I actually typed it on the chat. Machine code, byte code. Also check this RPC, remote procedural call. Very, very important. Most especially if you want to go into blockchain or smart contract development. It's something you always meet. It's something you cannot escape. So always put it at the back of your mind. So any other question before we move to the doing things? Our time is even fast spent already. How many hours is dev hour?
1 hour.
1 hour. So I don't even think we can do what we'll do. So I'll give you guys as an example. Sorry, as an assignment, right? So this is what will happen. Now you can see this deploy and this verify. Go through this documentation. I believe you guys, like everybody here, I want to believe that we have done last class, like those that were unable to follow on their computer, you later went back to the video, followed the video up to the point where we ran tests and it tested, like we compiled and then tested it, right? I want to believe that. Beautiful. So what I want you guys to do right now is come to this guide under verifying contract and then follow it one after another, using that same contract. Where is it, sef? This is it, right? Wait, I'm coming. Let me be sure. Oh, or is it this one? No. Where did this thing go? Sorry. Let me check. Okay. So you guys remember this thing we did now together? This particular one we did together. So follow this guide. So follow this guide, this deploying your contract. Follow it step by step to the last point. Now come back. Now follow this one, verifying your contract too. It's very explanatory, well explained here. Follow it too step by step until you get to the final one. And then observe everything they ask you to observe. So these are the two things you are going to do: deploying your contract and then verifying your contract. You already have the contract on your computer. For those that have not, you can watch last video. You are going to see everything there. So any question from what we did today or from what we did on Thursday? I believe we started on Thursday. So are there any questions?
I have a question, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Let me speak for the people using Windows actually.
Okay,
MPX, like
yes,
in greeting of, like I'm using Ubuntu and I just tested like one of the prompts that was used in the first class.
yes.
MPS is not working. In VS Code of Windows is not working, but in the Ubuntu is working.
Yes,
But in VS Code of Windows, they are detecting it as something like, let's say, a hacker or that kind of thing, and it's not working. So is there any solution to it?
the truth is, you see anything Windows, I swear to God, I don't know. Most especially when it
Even
comes to development.
Windows, I don't.
Honestly, I have no idea because even when I was using Windows, I had to dual boot my system, all right, so that my system can be running on both Windows and Linux. So ever since, I've actually been using Linux. So anything on development, I don't even bother myself to look at Windows. Okay, so Johnson going as if Johnson is a Windows expert. He can help us.
No, I was, but I just changed mine to Ubuntu I think
Oh,
2014, but so if you
okay,
change your system to Ubuntu 20, any version, sha, but change it to Ubuntu. But the process is very long. That's why I just advise just go to where they are doing software installation. Tell them you need Ubuntu, they will do the process for you because you need a hard drive that you will convert to, I
yeah,
think, portable
mm,
something. So that's
yeah,
just the best way.
to bootable flash. You are correct, actually. So
What about
TJ,
Linux?
okay. Now, Michael,
So, sorry. Before you
Ubuntu.
go on,
Okay,
before you go on, if you are in KD, I can help you turn your system to Ubuntu or Linux or any Linux distribution if you want. If you're in KD,
beautiful, beautiful. I love this. So, who again? Okay, somebody was asking a question. Okay, Do, yeah, he says, what about Linux? Ubuntu is actually a flavor of Linux. Linux is like umbrella. You understand? It's like one big umbrella. And then Ubuntu is inside, Kubuntu is inside, Fedora is inside, Linux Mint is inside, Kali Linux too is inside.
Parrot.
Parrot,
Arrow,
I mean, carrot. Mona no vex. The
Fedora,
name plenty. Even me, I know, no be everyone, every of them I sabi.
Mint.
Mint, Linux Mint. So,
That one is Windows friendly.
Which of them will you recommend for us?
and the thing is, what I would recommend for you is Fedora. Either you go for Fedora or you go for Manjura or Linux Mint. So I'm going to type it: Fedora, Majora, or Linux Mint. So these ones are actually beginners friendly. Ubuntu 2 is very beginners friendly. In fact, that was the one I started with. But the way they started doing things, see, me, I just gave up. So
Is
that's
this
why.
snap? Is this snap or snap they introduced? From then the program started.
Yeah, it's kind of it's too much. The breaking changes they have right now is too much, honestly. So either use Fedora or me. I've personally I've used Fedora. I've not used Majora, but at least I've seen those that are using Majora. I've not used Linux Mint, but they say it's so much similar to Fedora. So either of these ones, I think you'll be okay. If your head is
Even
strong, like Obed, you can use Arch Linux. So if your head is strong like Obed, you can try Arch Linux. But no be me send you, sha. If anything happen, no say na my teacher tell me. I no tell you anything. No. Okay. So any other question?
Someone asked a question. He said, "So like this, we can't proceed without changing our OS."
No, you can. No, you can use Windows, right? But what you do is that if you are using Windows, go and search for how to install WSL, right? WSL2. I think that's Windows Sub Linux System. That's the full meaning. Sub
yes.
Linux. So, but my brother, even this WSL, it has frustrated me before. So, I don't know, Sha. Maybe your own case will be different. I know there's something in Nigeria we used to do. Say my case is different. Tinubu economy must favor me. So, WSL too can favor you. Me, I see Shege no be small. I run.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't want
Adeosun,
to leave, if you don't want to leave your Windows, if you say Windows is my babe, I cannot leave my babe, I too like my babe, right? I will advise you just dual boot.
I'll
Uh-huh.
go for
Uh-huh. I
safety.
would have said use virtual machine, but my brother, virtual machine actually
Alright.
makes you a lot of resources. So it might not be ideal for your system. Okay, TJ, please go on.
Yeah, I wanted saying something about the virtual machine actually, because some people want to dual boot their system or probably use virtual machine. If you're doing that, your system has to be running on SSD, not the regular hard drive that we know, because SSD is faster. You have to increase RAM and you have to make a little bit of updates to your system for you to be able to have the virtual machine run smoothly on your system and probably dual booting, because that's the only way you can scale through this. You either dual boot or you change the complete system to Linux distribution, either Kali, Parrot OS, Mint, the ones you mentioned. So
Mhm.
anyone that suits you is good, but you need to increase your hard drive. You change your hard drive from normal hard drive to SSD. SSD is the best for developers because it's times 10 faster than the regular hard drive.
I'll
It's
try.
just an advice actually.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. So Michael, though, go on.
see, I have to be honest with all of you. I'm a farmer, technically. So I'm just transitioning into
Tech.
coding and all this kind of things.
Mm.
So all these things wey una just they mention, it does you people have mentioned like 1,000 things just now. And it's very, very hard for me. Let me not even say it's hard. It is easy for me. But I need somebody that will hold my hand and say, oh, do it like this, do it like this. Because let me not lie to you, after this call, if I try to
Yeah,
do it on my own, even after watching all the videos, it's still going to
yeah.
look like one kind of further mass that I've never come across in my life. I'm just being
Okay.
very, very honest.
Yeah, it's okay to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. No worries.
How far have you gone in your development journey?
I've not
Wait,
started the journey. This is my first journey.
you
You don't
just
have
pay
any
TP. Oh. You just pay TP.
or
You can't never start
starting
move.
something.
Okay, so you know what you do, ba? If you, I don't know if you have like a computer village close to your place where you stay, or you know any computer village around. You can actually go there and tell them, okay, you want to actually boot your system to so and so. Although they might charge you for it. I know that you might not be in Kaduna. If like for instance you're in Kaduna now, would have TJ would have helped you out, any other person. But I don't know. Or is anybody here I don't know, Michael, like which state are you in? So maybe you can get somebody from this same call that is in that same state that can help you out.
I'm in Lagos actually.
Okay, there are supposed to be Lagos people here now. Lagosian, how far? Hmm?
Uh, but
If
I be
let's say I be
focused
soon a
on
Lagos person, ba.
I'm in Lagos person,
installing.
but
I can. Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Anybody
can hear
having
you.
issue with storage, you can do it online via Google Meet, where I'll be putting you through what you'll be doing. If that would be
Or
helpful,
or
because
or you can
I
use
don't
any desk.
Okay.
that also works. But when you start because when you start installing, any desk will not be able to work at the right time. So maybe you have to be using maybe the phone to do video while the person can see. But Sha Michael, we go together here, Sha.
Okay, Adeosun, please, can you send a message on WhatsApp group? I'll post a sticker on the group chat so that you can send me a message directly. So I'll just be able to keep in touch with you.
Tech
Yeah, that's
Explorer, are you in the group, student group?
like I'm in the group. I want to ask you, like now,
Okay,
if
sorry.
I like, let's say, like in this Ubuntu, if you make it to be your system fully, like the files in your Windows, will it be like, should I say that? Can it can you put it in your Ubuntu? Because there are some
Otilo.
like Photoshop. Let's say there are some Photoshop files. I don't know whether Photoshop work in Ubuntu, and I used to.
Okay. My fellow brother in graphics. The thing there is that, there's this website, right, that you can actually use in place of Photoshop, but it's not like full-fledged like Photoshop. And I don't know what you normally use Photoshop for, whether it's pictures or design. If it's design, I think that one can considerably uh stand in place of Photoshop. What's even the name again? They call it ZPSD. So
I think it's Photo P. Photo
Photopia.
P.
You know Photopia?
I tried it recently. It worked. It helped
Yes,
me do one thing, Sha. I tried
Photopia.
Now
it.
So
you
let me send it to the group. So you can actually check Photopia. Yes. But if you are not okay with it, then I'll advise you to dual boot. Because that's why me to have to dual boot my system then. Because I really needed to use Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro. So I dual booted. So you can try this Photopia. If it's only Photoshop that is your problem, you can check. If it's something that can cover up for it, then my brother go on.
Corel Illustrator, Photoshop, this kind of thing.
No, okay, okay. So Johnson, go on.
Michael, what I would just advise for everyone is that this thing is that me, I was using Windows. I'm also a designer and also a front end dev before now. So, but the truth is, I just have to buy a new system and change it to Ubuntu. Because if you want to be programmer, you must use either Mac OS. Now, that Mac OS now you can work Photoshop and still be doing your programming. So it's just for you to choose. Either you want to get a two Windows or you want to get one Mac. So that's just the truth.
Anytime we wanna see people we no be small bad and whole. Now so that they talk. Oh. Even me where they like this, they no born me when man buy new system. Oh. Where I want see the money from.
Johnson na senior man now. Johnson guide normally.
No wonder. Just no worry, I'll call your DM.
No mind Italian Obed, now them be my boss right from Web 2.
Johnson dey
Imagine
share
where
all
tally day. And I saw him go just they do shy for here.
for where
But tally no verse. So this is how you be soldier. Me no come follow me, come out, give me punishment.
I beg
You go
I no be
you go
soldier
buy
o.
job.
Now
No,
that
I no
job
be
I no
soldier.
one buy you. I don't even get money to pay for the job.
No, the job no expensive. No expensive. Na just 2 weeks on the room, that's all.
Yeah, no, God, I beg. It's too expensive. Oh. All right. So I think that's all now for today. Make a leave una. Like so now continue na discussion. So
Adeosun, please, I've sent the sticker. Oh.
Okay, I'll check it. I'll check it.
Our boss wants to talk o.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
Good
please.
Am
evening,
I
Excellency.
all right? Hold on, everyone. So, okay, before I speak, I can see the subment on the call, and I mentioned that of the elimination. So, please, can you just give more information about the elimination test that is going to be dropped? Okay, probably is can no way can speak. Or am I audible enough? Please, can you hear me? Just drop a
We
reaction if
can
I'm
hear you,
audible
sir.
enough. All right. So the elimination test will be dropped today. Though I announced 8 o'clock, but I was seeing some update from the submitters that they might drop it by 6 o'clock. So that's why I wanted to confirm. But just be active on the Discord channel, and that test is going to last. Is going to be expiring by 6 o'clock tomorrow, and if it's dropped 8 o'clock today, it's going to be expiring. Do not use AI. So it's just more or less what you've learned. Try to be as natural as possible and try to give your answers. We don't want to pursue people. We want everybody to be able to complete the bootcamp, but want people to be very serious towards it. So everyone on this call, please try to participate in that. So if it might be still opening it again for people that miss. So I can assure that. So just ensure that you follow it up and you submit on time. It's something that you can do attending class, or you're really following through with what you're doing. You can do it within 30 minutes, 1 hour. You can be able to complete that test. So from my own end, okay, on Monday again, Victor coming in. So Victor is going to be starting up with you all on Solidity, and as time goes on, I'll be announcing more mentors and so on. So please try to prepare, try to organize yourself together, put yourself together, because it's already becoming technical. Just like today now, just OS issue now is already.
I beg, you only me know they hear anything.
Okay.
Sorry,
Nobody
I
dey talk.
lost my internet connection. So sorry about that. So I was saying it's becoming technical. So please endeavor to follow up with your other students that are learning and the sub mentors too. I've also mentioned if you have any issue, drop it on the sub mentors, the help channel, and the sub mentors are there to help you and guide you through. So I can see some hands up. Let me just reply to. If those questions are for me, you could go ahead and ask. Then we can call it a day. Okay, seems the hands are already down. All right. So, okay, all right. So I don't think there is anything else from my own end. So just ensure to participate in that test and have a nice day, everyone.
You too. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. You're very much welcome.